Final guest that is the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube guys. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyz Entertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We are resuming the Star Wars on Trial from Film Threat. Let's resume. Where we left off is in the middle of, about 60% of the way through the last video. They're taking a commercial break, and literally there are commercials. So let's check them out. Let me see, make sure everything's in order. We are live. Oh, let me set the timer before I forget. All right, and away we go. Boom, 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 boom.
We did hear about today. We do know that there are some that have been shelved.
Well, they haven't been shelved. Most things haven't been shelved. Development is a complicated, long-term process.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, we're dealing with scheduling, because obviously really talented people are working.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't.
Uh-oh.
This is how procrastination manifests in high performing man. This is me before putting things off. Wait.
It's often not a shelving. It's just, is it ready?
Yeah.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
It was a quiet Wednesday, that May 25, quiet, that is, until Star Wars exploded onto the silver screen and changed the course of movie making forever. We all know that story, but fast forward 35 years, when a real empire consumed it, changed it, broke it, woke it. The magic is gone. The myth is gone.
911 operator, what's your emergency? Oh my God, they killed Star Wars!
The new overlords ignored most everything that made it great. They insulted the fans, betrayed the fans, ignored the fans, ignored the canon, and they even ignored serious, coherent story making. And just...
The problem is that making film is an art. Selling film is a business. Right. The trouble is that they don't know how to sell films. As a result, they try to make you make films that people will go to without them having to be sold, which is the real key to the problem. And if they weren't so backward and, they just, if they can't put a film in a theater and have people rush to the door, they're not interested.
When I took over the licensing, I simply said, I'm going to be able to make T-shirts, I'm going to be able to make posters, and I'm going to be able to sell this movie, even though the studio won't.
As a toy seller, Star Wars is unequaled.
I have about 20, 25,
Which ones?
The main characters like Chewbacca, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, all of those,
How many of the Star Wars characters do you have at home?
About 10.
About 10. How about you? Do you have them too?
I have 3. I don't have none, really.
You don't have any yet?
I'm planning to get some.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, which ones you want?
All of them.
Star Wars toys have been the top sellers in boys' action toys for 6 years straight.
Some of the toys are action toys. If your child gets one, you may have to take it away with force.
Don't.
Hope you enjoyed that break. We are now moving to open debate for count 9. The charge: maliciously hiring activists within Lucasfilm. It's there is no format to this, and anyone may begin, and we will continue. We will show some of the jury's comments on screen as the proceedings continue.
I'm sorry. Did you want to go over super chats before we do that?
Well, Mr. Beekler's short on time. We will save the super chats until later. We move to open debate. We'll see how long we go with that. Please continue.
I'd like to start with open debate by asking Mr. Beekler some questions about your statements. So when you were saying that Han Solo, like the Disney Star Wars treating Han Solo like a deadbeat dad and an idiot, and Leia being treated like an idiot, how is that exactly activism as opposed to, say, bad storytelling?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I think it's a very good question. But these are supposed to be professional, creative people. Now, I'll agree with your statement earlier that Rian Johnson is a lesser filmmaker. Absolutely. He is a lesser filmmaker. But I don't think that's behind it. For one, it was marketing. They were clickbaiting the public because they wanted to focus on one legacy character per film to try to stretch that out. But to not put Han, Luke, and Leia in a scene together, I can't even think that Jar Jar Abrams or Rian Johnson wouldn't think about that for a moment. And I think what's behind that was trying to prop up their character, Rey. And why did they want this female character to? The only way they can do that inherently is sexism. They have to diminish the male characters. I bypassed the compressor. I mean, you got to be kidding me with that line. So it is their political motivation that feeds these horrific creative decisions. And yeah, you can couple that with some pretty awful writing. I think it's pretty well established that Rian Johnson runs the school of dumb filmmaking to make certain people think they're smart. And Jar Jar Abrams is just an absolute fraud. But to not put them in a scene together, to not make Han Solo heroic, why do you need to diminish him, have him regress back to before he was in the beginning of Star Wars, leave Leia after their son goes to the dark side to some guy named Snoke who ended up just being a clone because somehow Palpatine came back. Yeah. I can't help but think that is a politically motivated decision by intersectional feminism, because we need to make the women look more powerful. And the only way, according to Hollywood, these are not my words, women can look more powerful is by diminishing men and having them act like men.
Mr. Beekler, I appreciate your passion response. However, aside from the name dropping of intersectionality and activism, you still didn't answer my question exactly. How is it activism as opposed to, say, bad storytelling or just bad narrative decisions?
Kathleen Kennedy stated the Force is female, announcing that she's going to be, and this is going to be an intersectional feminist Disney Star Wars, which it has been.
That has been debunked in an earlier trial where that was an actual Nike advertising slogan that was presented at the school that Kathleen Kennedy's kid was going to during a
Oh, so you're saying the Force isn't female. You're saying they haven't diminished male characters systematically throughout the entire run of Disney.
Well, no, and this is the big failing of the defense is they haven't named one positive masculine figure in the entire series. They can't name one. Tobias Beckett, who he couldn't even name the character, and everyone furiously Googled it afterwards, in order to be able to find it. Right? Couldn't even name one positive masculine character, because exactly what you said. They have to emasculate the men in order to rise everybody else up.
Mr. Andrew, for Mr. Legal Mindset.
Yes.
How does if we're admitting that, okay, these
can you Mr. Monkey King, are you conceding that you cannot name one positive masculine non-villain character in all of the
it's irrelevant.
It is
at that point. Yeah, it's all circumstantial evidence. But I think I have a lot more circumstantial evidence that the Force is fucking female in Disney Star Wars.
Let's have a just very quickly, just need to interrupt everyone. We just received a series of super chats shocked to see Kathleen Kennedy, who says Star Wars no longer belongs to the toxic little man babies. It belongs to me. I own it. All must bow to me. Star
Wars here.
Windows tastes good. You should try it. Give it a lick or two. It might change your perspective. Okay? Windex, the blue stuff, it's amazing. But that does not pull it out how Star Wars has always been political, and now we just don't agree with what the politics are. That's the only shift.
Well, we're conflating this, by the way, erroneous theory that it's always been political and activism by the employees, activism by Disney, and they have displayed their activism openly by fighting with an entire state, losing their tax status in Florida, one of the greatest gaffes of a company of all time. And hey, I believe taxation is theft. I'm against it, but I'm just saying here as an observer going, wow, is this good business? And what is driving this good business? Well, it's ESG, it's DIE, it's intersectionalism, it's Marxist beliefs. That is activism, and they are infiltrating everything. I've always said that the bankers who run everything, they're not the ones who even watch their own shit. I doubt anybody on the board has social score.
Yeah, credit as in a line of credit.
Disney made a choice. They made a choice in DI. They made a choice in China.
Here, who ordered the defense from Wish? Says 200 Watt Studio. Shucksy says the goal of socialism is communism. Quoting Lenin. Crunchy Beaver for 10. Yes, where's the crunchy bush nowadays? All this totally shaved stuff is borderline creepy, in my opinion. Also, didn't Kathleen Kennedy say she didn't want the 50-year-old fans? 200 Watt Studio goes on for 2. Objection, the Road Warrior DVD is the dubbed version. Interesting.
Is that Mad Max or Road Warrior? I know they dubbed Mad Max.
They dubbed Mad Max, yes,
Yeah.
with American accents. Very unusual. Grumpy Dad reacts for 5. All these examples were warnings of potential futures or outcomes. Star Wars activism is about trying to popularize socialist ideals. Angry Eddie TV for 2. It's pronounced Ruined Johnson. I rest my case. Ministry of Wrongthink for 999. The difference between political messaging in the original trilogy versus the sequels is the generic anti-war / oppression theme was meant to connect with fans, whereas the messages in the sequels are divisive. There you are. Nick Brown for 999. Your Honor, I'm inclined to agree with the distinguished gentleman from Texas and the coiner of the term MCU. Kathleen Kennedy is an activist, and we must believe her when she says the force is female. I am unbiased. There you are. The Smoking Patriot for 1999. Name one scene where the men were brave and heroic in the sequel trilogy and praised for it. Finn simps, Poe is chastised, Han is deadbeat, and Luke is pathetic, all while the women are strong and can never do wrong. Crunchy Beaver for 10. Yeah, Mao and Stalin killed roughly 10 times what Adolf did. They starved their own people for the benefit of the state. That's what we really want, isn't it? I guess Thanos is a hero.
Thanos was right.
John Orchard for 5. The charge should be changed to negligent hiring instead of malicious hiring. Negligent hiring is a real civil law cause of action. Great stream. Thank you, John. Question for George. Would you rather give Jar Jar a reach around or Phoebe Waller-Bridge a tickle? George? Lucas.
I'm not going to respect that question. I reject the whole question in its entirety. That's just silly. And Jar Jar's people don't need a reach around.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Ministry of Wrongthink for 999. I heard the best thing ever on WDW Pros the other day. What's the fastest way to make a multi-million-dollar company? Give Kathleen Kennedy a multi-billion-dollar company. Interesting comment. I wish Kathleen Kennedy was still here to hear that. I believe Kathleen Kennedy will be on the final episode of this show, which is July 26th. Will be the final episode of Critics Court at a different time. It'll be in the evening. We will go through every single count. We will also go to sentencing. And in addition, members of the jury will choose the next franchise that will appear in Critics Court. We will make a list of the franchises,
I think
And
they chose
the jury will decide.
Star Trek.
So there you go. Gregory Lieber for 5. Original trilogy and prequel trilogy politics were woven into the story. Disney broke the established continuity and characters in order to be political. That is the issue. Shabraham Lincoln for 1999. There's a difference between films having messages and tilting one's entire company towards one political direction and actively antagonizing anyone who disagrees with said messaging. Disney Lucasfilm is firmly in the latter. Matt
Your Honor, that
Devine
was
for
Slabraham Lincoln, not Shabraham.
Slabraham Lincoln. What did I say? I'm sorry.
You said Shabraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Shabraham. I need to get where legal mindset is in terms of the alcohol content there. Res Judica Judicata is my favorite new character. Well, there you are. And super sticker from Pitlin44. Thank you for that. Eric Henson. I can see why the dads left JJ, Ryan, and JJ. Thank you, 200 Watt Studio. Radioactive for 10. Defense is struggling and needs help. Chewbacca is a Wookiee from Kashyyyk living on Endor. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. You must acquit Disney Soy Wars. Defense rests. And the Beast, 808 for 2. Sam is an undercover prosecution operative.
We might have operatives. You never know.
Eric Henson for 2. I want Sam on the winning side for the next trial. And does Mr. Ing prefer Mick Jagger or Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
Polysemia asks. Oh, Kathleen Kennedy is back. For 5, Star Wars was just a simple pump and dump for me to acquire. George fell for it like a little boy looking for a lollipop. Mr. Lucas, any comments on Ms. Kennedy's comments?
That's neither here nor there. Look, Kathy Kennedy was a great asset to the early Spielberg projects. She made great coffee, and she was very helpful in scheduling things. So I'm not going to badmouth her in these proceedings.
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. 200 Watt Studio for 2. Lucasfilm sold hundreds of Rose Tico figures.
Yeah, to one person.
David March for 5. Thanos rhymes with Davos. I'm glad my record of 8% was not beaten. We'll find out soon. Angry Eddie TV, KK, that's a real dusty clam you got there. Not sure what you're talking about.
That is.
I'm sure he's talking
That's
about.
nasty.
For $2, we thank you for that.
Yes. Feeling Dangerous 113 for 5. I'm going to movies, gotta hop off, not watching that Lucasfilm trash, but the Sound of Freedom.
Nope.
Adios. Catch the rest later. And Boat Night for 2. Funny coming in here to a Star Wars soap ad. And ESG is the dark side, and like the dark side, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny, says Darius White for 5. And Jens Anderson of the Tari Threat Level 1 has been a member for 10 months, says guilty down with Disney Plus. Hail Gary. P.S. Watch Stargate.
Oh man,
I am.
Stargate's good.
Any
No,
final
Stargate.
comments
All right.
from members of the prosecution and
Start
defense
into it later.
before we finalize our
Particularly
poll
SG1.
to see who won?
Well, I got to go, but like, how long are we going?
We will be done before the top of the hour. Another 13 minutes.
Man, I'll just stay. Screw it.
Okay.
Man, we got a lot.
Any other final remarks from anyone? Defense, Mr. Lucas, Mr. Mindset, final comments.
I have a final comment. You know, there's a complaint throughout this case how the original trilogy members were not together during the sequel trilogy.
Oh, I saw this
And
part.
I have Marvel Comic 93 of Star Wars. And when I went back and I looked, had been lobbying for 30 years to behind the scenes for them to kill Han Solo. So don't you think
Harrison
if we
Ford.
didn't see
Screw Harrison Ford. He doesn't get to make that decision.
he has an
over
influence? I'm just saying. Go ahead.
Yeah,
over
you
his
don't give the
character.
actress.
And George didn't want that. They just had to. And if George was running Disney Star Wars or Star Wars at the time, I don't think he would have let him do that.
Active. Emily Kruger for 5. The Family Guy Star Wars specials were more like Star Wars than the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Interesting.
And then they turn it over to the young people. Badly.
And George didn't want that. They just had to. And if George was running Disney Star Wars or Star Wars at the time, I don't think he would have let him do that. George, you're here. Would you have let him kill Han Solo?
Not for the amount of money we were paying him.
There you go.
Objection. When did
George, you would have never killed Han Solo? Wait, George, one more question. George, would you have ever killed Han Solo? Ever? At what point did you kill him?
Look, he lobbied to be killed off in Return of the Jedi, and I thought that was a bad idea then, and I think it was a bad idea later on.
Well, you had to have thought in your mind coming up. Did you ever foresee an end of what was your end for Han Solo's story, George?
Well, again, I'm not going to share that unless I'm paid to share it, because that's a valid story idea. Everyone can't talk at the same time. That's how this works badly.
Is that how it works?
It does.
No idea for the ending. Perhaps for the right price, we will find out what the actual.
All I can say is that the story that I was developing had the main characters from the original trilogy together, having an adventure, and then they turn it over to the young people.
Fair enough.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We are getting close to ending our poll, so we can see who won today's debate. Ms. P. Coffee, did you highlight the comments so we can display it on screen for everyone to see? Give her a moment here. Any other also final thoughts before we'll be wrapping up in the show in the next under 10 minutes here. I guess I'll go to some chat questions and comments. Kathleen Kennedy Coffee, it will woke you up, says Radioactive. Emily Kruger for 5. The Family Guy Star Wars specials were more like Star Wars than the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And Sci-Fi is Life for 5. If you guys do Doctor Who for the next case, I'll be there. We are making a very short list of possible cases of other franchises that have been murdered by their corporate overlords. Doctor Who is on the list. Marvel is on the list. Star Trek is on the list. You will vote the night of the our final episode of the show when we're going to see who won. We're going to see the counts. You will be able to decide what the next case will be. Butter Biscuit 92 for 5. This has been awesome and fun. Thanks, helping get through work. Screw Disney Star Wars. Well, thank you for that. And the final results of the poll from the members of the jury, I'll say, Mr. Ng, I think you had a message to the more than 1,700 members of the jury today. You had a message for them.
Yes. Which one was that again?
Like that?
Yeah, that's right. I like that. Like that smash button and subscribe away. We are just over 85,000 subscribers, working our way to 169,000.
The goal is 169,000 subscribers, according to Mr. Ng. Thank you, Mr. Ng.
Thanks to you, we are halfway there.
There you are. Now the results of the poll today. Who do you think won the argument? Prosecution 93%, defense 6%. That's with 882 votes from the members of our jury. Well, there you are. There is a chance. Well, that might be one of the best prosecution wins I think we've seen in all 9 counts. Quick from 200 Watt Studio says Kirk and Solo both died on a bridge. Only one did it heroically.
Oh.
Well, there you are. And that's going to end it for us
They both suck,
today.
to be honest with you.
That's going to end it for us today. Would anyone like to get any plugs out as we look at our court sketch artists? Let's go through some of the drawings that Mr. Blackwood has done today. Where can people find all of you on the socials and or your YouTube channels? Please plug those.
What? What is that?
Starting with Willie
Matt
Monkey
Allen?
King or
sure.
Those Wayne Testins, by the way, or
oh, he's inside the Tauntaun?
It looks like you're in a tauntaun. You're
Oh,
coming
there
out
we
of the
go. Okay.
tauntaun.
That's what it is.
Oh yeah, there it is.
You can find me at Willie the Monkey King's Music, where I post original music
Her face
and
twice.
even the occasional cover, or soon to be occasional cover. That's it.
Leslie Headland.
Is that Leslie Headland and Ryan Johnson? Who's? Oh my God! I know it's okay. Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
Oh my God,
Harvey
that's so good.
That's quite disturbing.
Leslie and Headland. Oh.
Oh, I see. I see what you did there. That's funny. I'm one of those. I'm one of those little bird creatures. That's funny. Oh no, that's the other guy. There we go. That's better.
All right, real quick around the horn. Your channels, Matt.
You can find me at Ozark Matt on Twitter at Ozark Matt.
Great, Andrew.
Legal Mindset is my main channel, legalmindset.locals.com. My Asia channels Go East, and I have a new podcast, Bangkok Bros, if you want to see me live in studio.
Fantastic. Sam.
Subscribe to Dan Bask.
Oh, no.
Wow. Shots fired.
Wow.
I was going to compliment you, Defense, but screw you, buddy.
Hey, Hail Isom too.
Hail Isom too.
Oh no, that's me. That's me. I think. Yeah. Nice.
There you go.
Defense, it was great talking to you. You guys, you plucky little guys, you got 6%. That's pretty good. That's more than I thought you were going to get. So well done. Well done. Especially with Legal Mindset here. By the way, we got to get you on FNT, dude.
Yeah. Just hit me up. You got my
Your Honor, for the record, Mr. Beekler's policy at his comic book store did allow patrons to visit and use his restroom until a certain incident. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Mr. Beekler can explain that later, but
we'll probably have to explain that another day. It was for damn good reason. Okay. Yeah, it's like if some poor pregnant woman comes in, needs to use the bathroom, I let her use the bathroom. All right. But yeah, it's a horrible story. Hey, surprisingly enough, my next video will be out tomorrow, and it's about Disney. It's about Disney. So I know this might shock a few people. I haven't made enough Disney videos, but that'll be out tomorrow. I normally am on Hump Day. I'm on the Nooner with Chris Gore. We won't be around next week either. Maybe we'll do like a special edition or something like that, because we'll be at Comic-Con. I'm very excited about that. But this was tons of fun. Thanks for inviting me, everybody. Subscribe to Film Threat and not Dan Bask.
Mr. Beekler, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to hanging out with you next week in San Diego. And to the jury, thank you for your time and your attendance. I also need to thank our mods here taking care of us today. Lord Thoth, Mexican Ironman, Gritterin Masters, Ms. Peak Coffee, our intrepid producer, Glenn Brown. I want to thank my colleague, Alan Ings. Always fun to hang out with Alan. Alan's face just makes me laugh. That's all I can say. And I will see you all next week. We have the jury special. It looks like we will be pre-recording that. If you're a member of the channel, we're pre-recording it Sunday afternoon, and then we will run it on Wednesday for everyone to see. But if you're a member of the channel, you can actually participate on the live stream with Alan, myself, and we have a special guest, Judicator, who will be there. Until then, see you at Comic-Con and July 26th, final episode. And Alan, take us out.
Let's get out of here.
Sparkle is here to save the day and save you money.
Jury deliberation special. So it's this video. Then we've got the very short clip, which is the Critics Court finale trailer, and then the final verdict. So this in total is probably going to take.
All rise.
It's going to take about.
You may be seated.
Streams. This one included.
We are continuing in the matter of fandom versus Star Wars, Lucasfilm and Disney for the murder of the Star Wars franchise. Normally, Jury deliberations is something that is not televised and not made public. But as I am the judge in this trial, I have made the determination in the interests of transparency that we will allow you, the viewers, to see inside the jurors' deliberations. Now, what we have invited on members of the jury, which are also members of the Film Threat YouTube channel. They will be on here shortly to discuss all 9 counts leveled against Disney/Lucasfilm. Randomly selected has been lead judicator Jeff Tucker. Before we bring Mr. Tucker on, we have a Mr. Todd Blackwood who's here. I'm going to mute your mic, Mr. Blackwood. He is going to be our sketch artist for today, and he will be showing us sketches based on today's proceedings. You can follow him at blackwoodpdx.com, and you can also visit his Instagram, and there you go, at Blackwood_PDX. Now, I also want to remind the jury to have an open mind. We have spent the last few months going through all 9 counts with the prosecution and the defense. You have kept an open mind. Now I want to hear thoughts from the jury. It's time for Critics Court. Court is in session.
Is that wobble, 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 wobble? Is that like when you take those one of those little waves and you rake the murder the Star Wars franchise.
Mr. Ng, I'm disappointed no tie today.
Yes, I can get one. It'll be the ever popular Winnie the Pooh tie.
Well, this is jury deliberations, and while I would expect most to be dressed for court, I understand that the last few months has been very stressful on many people, has been very stressful. And so your casual jury attire, I will accept it. I will accept it. So here we are. I also, as it is, as at the time of this recording, it's the weekend. I am going to be indulging in a little bit of beverage here.
Yes,
and,
today's deliberations will be important. I believe the result is most likely going to be a hung jury or a hanging jury, one of the two.
Well, we shall see. Let's bring on our sketch artist, Mr. Blackwood. Thank you for joining us today, and joining us, the lead judicator. And I'm very excited to hear his statements. I'm interested to hear what this gentleman has to say. Mr. Jeff Tucker is joining us. Mr. Tucker, thank you for your presence today in court.
I didn't have a choice. I was sent a summons, but I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Would you like to make a statement before we begin and bring on other members of the jury to join you?
Sure. Thank you. I
When
grew up in
does
the
this
Star Wars
come for?
generation. I saw Star Wars on the big screen
So,
when I was young.
I don't know
I
if you
waited
watch
2.5
Film Thread,
hours
but
for
there's
that
a
screening
YouTube channel
because
that
back then theaters didn't
discusses
have a lot of
movies and
screens, and you had
everything.
to wait in line.
Movies,
You didn't just walk up
entertainment,
and buy a
pop
ticket or
culture.
do it on your phone. We didn't know what
And,
that was. But I loved Star Wars.
so
I lived
they
and
decided to
breathed
do this
Star
thing where
Wars.
it's like a,
I grew up poor. We didn't
a
have a lot
court
of money.
case where
But
it's
my mother worked
fans
overtime
versus
whenever she could, and she taught me
Lucasfilm,
anything
Disney,
Star Wars I wanted.
Disney
Because
Lucasfilm,
Star Wars kept me
and
in school,
the
kept me
quote-unquote
working.
death
I
of Star Wars.
idolized not only the characters
So
on the
it's
screen,
like
Luke Skywalker, Han
imagining
Solo, Princess
what it
Leia,
would be
Chewbacca,
like if
C-3PO, R2D2. I
the
also
fandom
idolized the people who
sued
made the movies because
Disney
the
Lucasfilm.
top trading cards
So
showed you who
they
made the
did.
movie, who did the special effects, who wrote it, who directed
They
it.
had some
And Star Wars
people
became
serving as
so important to
prosecution,
me. Not
some
only the
serving
toys, which
as
I still have to this day,
defense,
my
others serving
12-inch
as
Luke Skywalker doll, which was a friend of mine when I was a kid. This was a friend, not just a toy.
and now they're doing
And I
the
treated all my toys
pre-deliberation.
like that. I also had the bed sheets, the birthday parties, the screenings. When it came available on home video, I couldn't believe it. I could watch Star Wars whenever I wanted because up until that point, I only had the Roscoe Brown recording where R2D2 told you when to turn the page. And I grew up loving Star Wars. And when Star Wars ended in 1983, there were a couple of Ewok movies. I followed along as I could. I read a lot of the novels that came out in the early 90s, beginning with the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Heir to the Empire. I read a lot of Kevin Anderson, a lot of the EU books, and Star Wars was kept alive. Shadows of the Empire was everything about Star Wars except a movie, and it was fantastic. I had my problems with the prequels, but I never wavered in my support of everything that George Lucas had done for me. So when he sold it, I was a little upset because here we had this big giant corporation known for watering things down and creating movies that didn't really matter. Disney's track record up until that point wasn't very good. And when I went to see The Force Awakens opening night, I was the only one in the group that said, this isn't good. They're not on a good start here. And boy, that was the understatement of the year because it just got worse as the years went. Disney has mishandled every one of these counts. It's obvious where the jury is going to lie in their decision, and I'm proud to be part of it. Thank you, Judge Gore.
Well, thank you, Mr. Tucker. I'll just say this. Don't be so confident. Don't be so confident that it's going to go a certain way. There's a line from The Last Jedi that even says that. I don't recall the line.
I only saw Last Jedi once. I have no desire to watch it again.
Mr. Ng, anything you'd like to say before we bring on other members of the jury?
This isn't going to go the way
Yes,
you
I feel unlike Mr. Tucker, the jury will weigh all sides and will come to a fair and logical conclusion. And again, we don't know where this is headed. All I do know is that we have the greatest jury in the world. They are fair-minded, unbiased, impartial, and we will find the result that is well-deserved. And I'm sure Mr. Tucker is just a little overly confident, and I believe the debate today will be vigorous. And I believe minds will be swayed one way or the other. Probably more one way than
This
the other.
won't go how you think it will.
Well, we shall see. I mean, there are 9
Luke
counts,
Skywalker.
and we have no idea where this is going to go.
That's the one.
But I do want to thank the jury before we begin. I want to thank the jury for their time, their patience. I know this has dragged on very long. We did have a brief recess the week that Mission Impossible came out, the new Mission Impossible, which was a welcome
The idea
break
is that Film Threat was going to
at the theater. So I'm
pretty
curious now. It is time
they
after
do
months
it like as
of this trial
weekly episodes
and
weekly
in
live
the interest
streams.
of authenticity, like a real trial.
And
Of
then-
course, it's dragged too long, but here we are nearing the end with the finale. July 26th, Wednesday, July 26th will be the finale in court You will have, as members of the jury, an opportunity to vote on all 9 counts.
Yeah,
In
the idea is
addition to that,
they were going to
there will be
do
a final vote
critics court every year
as to which franchise deserves to be in my courtroom. Will it be something like a Star Trek or a Marvel? Who knows? But we're going to put together a list, and you, the jury, will decide. Right now, members of the jury that I will be bringing into my courtroom are here to deliberate on all of these counts. Mr. Ng, would you put up the all 9 counts on screen so that we may view them as a reference? Brett, there's the yes, right there. That's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Ng. You're on point today. With the exception of the tie, I will compliment you. You've been very good here in the courtroom, even when you've been awful. Now let's go. Mr. Tucker, would you like to say anything as to any specific count before we bring on other members of the jury? Because I want to hear what they have to say.
The specific count that is the mishandling of the legacy characters. As we've seen with a lot of shows and movies that have tried the reboot process, this is your chance to give a love letter to nostalgia and then onward to the next story. And that's the biggest mishandling of the sequel trilogy, is never getting Luke, Han, and Leia in the same room to have a scene together. When Han Solo was murdered at the end of Force Awakens, all of that went out the window.
I don't get why
and bringing him back as a Force ghost makes no sense. So they've mishandled every aspect of it.
Thank you for your statement, Mr. Tucker. I'm going to bring the members of the jury on one by one. We have a lot waiting in the wings. We will do our best so that everyone has an opportunity. I promise. Right now, we're just gonna go in order as I see them. M. Juror, you are joining the proceedings. Hello, Mr. Juror.
Hello.
Good to see you. Care to make a statement? You can speak to Mr. Tucker and anything that you'd like to say with regard to all of the counts.
They should hit them with the book. I mean, the counts are pretty valid, and the proof is there, especially the past couple weeks that we've been doing all this. Evidence is hard when it comes to a lot of the mischief that went on with Disney. And yeah, I'm here to kind of just put the nail in the coffin, I guess.
All right, well, let's join Mr. Carver is joining us now. Anything you'd like to say before we bring on more members of the jury and we'll go to open discussion?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Honorable Judge. Hail the 199. I've been watching Star Wars since they were the original trilogy on Laserdisc before George got his fingers into it. I was there fourth in line at the premiere of Revenge of the Sith. When I was still in high school, we used to really show up for these movies, and ever since then, it's just gone swirling the drain down the toilet. And even though Last Jedi was visually stunning, you can put a gold coat of spray paint on a pile of poop and it's still a pile of poop.
Well, you saved it with the last thing that you just mentioned. Thank you for that, Mr. Carver. Mr. Gandalf identifies as White Jedi. I'm just going to call you Mr. Jedi. Thank you for joining us today. Would you like to make an opening statement before we go to open discussion?
Sure. I watched, I was introduced to the trilogy in 1985 when they showed, and here in Hollywood at the Egyptian Theater, and loved them. Had no problem with them. I know that Disney, that Bob Iger, he was also partaking in the Young Adventures of Indiana Jones, and we didn't have a problem with him back then. Why do we have a problem with him now? That's my question.
All right. Joining us also now, Geek Truth 64 is here. I have seen you in the chat, sir. Would you like to make an opening statement before we go to open debate?
Yes, Chris. I want to mention Shadows of the Empire, just like Mr. Tucker, no relation to Chris Tucker of the Rush Hour franchise. Shadows of the Empire. This book right here came out in the 1990s. A lot of people argue that that was the darker time for Star Wars fans because we didn't have content coming out. I mean, we had the book, there were video games, we had comic books, and we had toys. Yes, I stacked all of this before we got started. I am prepared. And in the 90s, that's what we had. And that was enough. I don't, that arguably should have been the dark time for Star Wars fans because we didn't have content. Now we've got tons of content. We have lots of content coming from Disney, spending billions of dollars with 5 movies and 24 seasons of television. Billions of dollars. And I've never seen the fans divided as much as I have between Disney Star Wars fans and people who don't like Disney Star Wars here. So as far as contrasting Shadows of the Empire, the 90s Star Wars with nothing versus now we're getting everything, just proves that just because we have a lot of content doesn't necessarily mean that that's a benefit for Star Wars fans or the franchise.
Thank you for your statement, Mr. Truth 64. Continuing on, Angry Yeti. Thank you so much for joining us today. You'd like to make an opening statement before the jury begins its deliberations?
Yes. I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was a child, and my father introduced me to the original trilogy. From there, I went on to watch the sequel trilogy. There's been some contention there, but I liked it well enough. And for over 20 years, I have been infected with Star Wars. It has been a scratch that I've always felt the need to itch. And that led me to start my 20-year journey on the 220 plus books from Del Rey. In this particular book right here, since Vector Prime to this one,
There were that many books?
they have been fighting an enemy that would eat Kylo Ren's lunch. In these books, you can find the quality of story that Disney has been claiming to put out. Like most of y'all, I've not been happy with it. And hopefully we'll see a change eventually.
Thank you very much, Angry Yeti. I'm going to throw it to Mr. Tucker. If you'd like to go through the counts, and Mr. Ng, if you would put the counts on screen so we can all view them. Mr. Ng, thank you very much. Mr. Tucker, if you would like to go through the counts, let's get a sense of where the jury is leaning.
Absolutely. Count 1. Fraudulent misrepresentation. When they bought it, they said they were going to do great things with it. We've not seen any of that. Sure, a broken clock is right twice a day. The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 were pretty good, but even that had to fall by the wayside. The Boba Fett show, oh my God, they took a legacy character and ruined him. Definitely fraudulent misrepresentation. Even on a ground level with their theme parks, where what was promised at Galaxy's Edge is nothing like what was delivered at Galaxy's Edge. Count number 2, fraudulent misuse of canon. Yeah, this is things that they have changed in Star Wars, such as turning Slave Leia into Hutt Slayer Leia, Slave One into a fire spray, I think is what they call it. It's just odd to paint something that was made so long ago with a modern brush, and it doesn't hold well with us fans who, up until a couple of years ago, spent hundreds of dollars on these very named items that are now problematic. Count 3, negligent handling and management of the Star Wars franchise. Well, that goes without saying, doesn't it? This is the only company in the world that could take a franchise like Star Wars and create a film called Solo. Now, Solo was made twice. 2 directors took a crack at it. Everybody showed up for work every day at 6 a.m. for months. And guess what? They lost money on it. Didn't make a dime. And the toys ended up at Five Below. Count 4.
Yeah,
Malicious
low.
introduction of current day politics.
But nowadays,
oh yes,
must
that's
be
the
all legal.
Force is female T-shirt, which I've yet anyone yet still to explain to me what it means. What does it mean that the Force is female? The Force is universal. The Force is an energy force that surrounds us, binds us, penetrates us, and binds the galaxy together. Count 5, demystifying lore. This is a big one. It didn't matter how Han Solo got his name, that he was alone. It didn't matter that Lando was a player. We certainly didn't need to know that he was having sex with a robot. There's so much
seriously
mishandling, demystifying of lore. It's obscene. Count 8, blatant disregard and threatening of fans. Well, that's the best one, isn't it? Where if you have an opinion about the film and you dare to describe it or explain it online, somehow you're the bad guy. You know, I've given my opinion a lot, and I've had people tell me that I'm the problem. How can I be the problem? I'm the guy buying a ticket. Count 7, negligent misuse of legacy characters. Turning Luke Skywalker into an a-hole. Turning Han and Leia into an estranged divorced couple who don't speak to each other.
Yeah,
so much so that when Han dies, Leia comforts a new character and not Chewbacca. It's unbelievable how they've misused legacy characters that are so important to us. This is modern day mythology. Count 8, blatant misuse of the expanded universe. They threw it all away, and now they're only now picking and choosing what they want to include, such as Thrawn and some of the other items from the EU. But everything that we read, it never happened. They waved their arm. They used the Men in Black gun to say it never happened. Conspiring, count 9, conspiring with and maliciously hiring activists. Yeah, they hired some untalented writers and producers to put these things together with the idea of putting their politics in it as a way of shaming those of us that have loved it for so long to try to bring in new people. Ridiculous.
You're muted, Judge.
Oh man!
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. I think it's the beverage is having an effect on me here.
Yeah, you stole it from me. Otherwise, I'd be drinking it.
With regard to your question, sir, Mr. Tucker, the Force is female. What does it mean, Mr. Ng? If you would answer that for us.
What does the Force is female mean?
What does that mean, sir?
Well, if you have been watching for the past several weeks, this has been a highly contentious debate. You know, was the Force is female? Is that a real slogan, or is that a shoe slogan? And we go back and forth on it. But the feeling is that even if it was meant to be a shoe slogan, it cuts right to the heart of where Star Wars is, at least the way Disney sees it. And it is the fact that toxic masculinity used to rule over the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars empire. And now we are bringing that much needed estrogen to bring balance back to the Force and make it female once again.
Well, I don't normally swear in court, but that's got to be the biggest bullshit answer I've ever heard, sir. Simply bullshitting your way through a statement doesn't make it true.
Good word salad.
Before we open to debate here, we have a couple super chats that came in. We have members of the channel that are currently watching and commenting, and we thank them for tuning in on the afternoon here. John Orchard for 5 says, "I love to count. Ha ha ha. Guilty on all counts with no shame." Crunchy Beaver. My one time I say the statement "Crunchy Beaver," these words haunt me.
Nice.
These words haunt me to this day. Crunchy Beaver for 10. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Like the Titanic, Star Wars is going to turn to rust. The destruction of Lucasfilm properties is complete with the depends of diarrhea. Well, there you are. And now I open the floor to open debate amongst everyone here as members of the jury. All conversation, all counts. Where do you see things going? Don't all talk at once.
All right.
Well, we've seen where things are going. Bob Iger himself said they're going to pull back. They're going to stop making so much content because how many Star Wars films have been announced and then quietly put on the shelf? When I was a kid, Star Wars was an event. You had to wait 3 years between movies. That gave you time to collect all the Kenner toys, and that was an important time of comic books and toys and playing and creating your own scenarios and then seeing what was on the big screen. Now Star Wars is available every week. It's no different than TJ Hooker.
Well, they're owned by Hasbro now, so no more Kenner toys. Maybe there's a correlation there. Yeah, I think that, as I said earlier in my opening statement, Shadows of the Empire, in the 90s, there really wasn't anything coming out for Star Wars fans. I became a fan in the 90s. I think that's evident that you don't need content, active new content, in order to bring people onto a franchise. And I think that the real issue here, or the main debate that I see a lot from people who like some of the Disney Star Wars, some of them don't, some of them like certain aspects or whatnot, is, well, just be happy that you're getting something. And I would argue that I was happier when I was getting nothing, when I was getting a comic book, and that was it. And so I just don't buy that argument at all.
Well, I'll say this.
That person.
It's funny. They sit here, Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, and they talk about how rough they have it with Star Wars versus Marvel. They just don't have the source material that Marvel has. Like I mentioned earlier, there's over 220 of these books. I could pick up one of these books, and I've got this is 25 away from finishing them, and I'll be done with all the Del Rey books, and then I'll read them again. I can open up any one of these books, and I could feel like I'm in the movie. Forget watching it. I can feel like I'm part of it. I can visualize Han Solo leading a fleet to success, even though he doesn't want to do it, because that's just not him. But he's capable. I can watch. I can almost feel like I'm right there watching Lando Calrissian turn a cruiser upside down over a planet. It's I mean, stuff like that. You're gonna ram a ship through light speed. Yeah, no, that's
previous,
right.
Stories at all.
Exactly. I mean, it just baffles me that I mean, these were never officially canon to begin with. So decanonizing it's stupid in the first place. I mean, let's forget the fact that for the longest time, the majority of Lucasfilm actually referenced these books in relation to continuity. So it's just
there was correlation between the different authors on these books to try
absolutely
and tie them into each other. There was more coordination from random authors who never met each other in person to try and coordinate consistent canon than definitely what we saw from Disney.
Yeah, you could tell every single one of them had read all of the predecessors. The only I guess you could call them continuity errors that I've come across. The only actual continuity errors are with the short stories, but that's okay. They're entertaining still, and you can set those particular ones aside. There's only like 3 collections of short stories. Other than that, I've only come across one book that I think it's misplaced in the timeline, because at the time it says it's at Wedge Antilles is still a colonel flying in Rogue Squadron when he should be a general already. But if you take that one book and move it back in the timeline a little bit, you're square, good to go.
Yeti, you make a great point. The books are a great source of material. What's an even better way to write a film franchise is to put everybody in a room. Let's not forget, if you've ever watched any of the making of any of the Star Wars films, George Lucas wrote these on a legal pad with a pencil.
Yeah.
It cost him about $3 to write these movies. And the fact that they didn't put a big team in a room and say, here's movie 1, here's movie 2, here's movie 3. They didn't do that. And they let Rian Johnson make his own turd of a film that negated everything we saw in the first movie. It's unbelievable that they would allow that kind of just silly mistake to happen that cost so much. And let's not forget, J.J. Abrams, the man behind Lost, which I consider the beginning of the downfall of pop culture, is responsible for the line, Palpatine is back somehow.
Yeah. Well, I like to say, a lot of people say Lost didn't have a plot. I like to say it had a plot. It just got misplaced. And I kind of feel like under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, Lucasfilm has kind of gone the same way.
Oh, they're definitely lost. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I do want to clarify something, because a lot of what I've seen a lot from people who defend, Disney Star Wars. That's fine if you like it. Don't get me wrong. I have one friend who likes it, and that's one more than none, I guess. But like the argument here is that that we just want the expanded universe. That's all we wanted, and that's the reason why we don't like Disney Star Wars. And I think that's pretty ridiculous. I was fine with. I understood completely from a creative aspect why you'd want to not tie yourself to all of those books. That's fine. But what's worse now is not only did they throw it out, but now they're pilfering certain things from it and pulling Thrawn out, and they're doing their own kind of weird version of Heir to the Empire with Ahsoka and things like that. And so it's just like it's ridiculous that that's a defense that I see a lot. And I think I saw that from one of the members of the defense during this trial.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's wild. I mean, yeah, you're right. I could understand, and that's why they were never officially canon to begin with, is because George Lucas made that conscious decision. He didn't want to tie himself to the book, the productions to the books. If he wanted to change his mind, which I'll give you, he was notorious for, change his mind like a woman changes clothes. But that was his right. He was. I'd said it in a super chat when Doomcock was on here. He was creating something out of nothing. Disney has created nothing out of something, and they're using some of the greatest villains in the EU, like Thrawn, as stepping stones for the strong women. And it's like, I mean, they even put Ahsoka in the books. And when the book that has Ahsoka in it, boy, I'll tell you, I'll take that over anything Disney puts out any day.
Yeah, so Ahsoka is one of the few good characters that Disney's put out there. There are some things Disney's done. As you said, a broken clock is right twice a day. There are some things that they've put out. So, and I'll play devil's advocate on a couple of the counts when we get to it, but I'll yield to anybody else on the jury who wishes to chime in.
Well, I'll chime in.
Please.
Yeah, regarding today's politics, modern day's politics, that's one of the counts that's issued against Disney. And I will say that I'm going to quote Star Wars Memories by Craig Miller, now available at Comic-Con. And I got this one at WonderCon, so highly recommended. He has a private collection of his own photos in the book, never been seen before. So it's totally terrific if you are a Star Wars fan.
Oh, wow.
I just wanted to put that out there. But to quote George Lucas when he was interviewed on page 371, he says, "The character of Lando, is that in any way a reaction to the press on the lack of non-Caucasians in the film?" George Lucas: "Not really. I mean, it was always intended that way, The whole thing in the press, I think, got blown out of proportion because there are actually some blacks in the first film. It's just that people don't notice them." So, to quote George Lucas, there have always been black people. But why not women Jedi? Why not black women Jedi? And that's reflected in today's High Republic, Black Women Jedi. So I just want to put that out there that it's always been diverse.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
It just need good characters. I mean, most people don't care about this. They just want good characters. People didn't like Reva because Reva was a bad character. And the actress, Moses Ingram, is a good actress. She was in Queen's Gambit. She can act. So whether that's bad dialogue, whether that's bad directing, I don't know what the issue was there. Maybe probably both. But, you know, that's all we want is good characters, you know.
Boy, don't we.
I'll say this. Politics have always been a part of Star Wars. There's nothing wrong with that. Star Wars came out in 1977 after America had had a pretty bad experience losing the Vietnam War. And seeing a movie about American excellence or somebody doing something for the good guys resonated with a lot of people in the same way that the prequel trilogy had a lot to do with the politics of George W. Bush and his administration. But they're always about good triumphing over evil using stuff that's in the film, story points. The problem with the sequel trilogy is that they just make up shit whenever they need it. If something dies, hey, Ray can bring him back to life. That would have been really handy a few times during the film.
Well, there's no plan. Well, I mean, that's the main problem. That's the main problem with the sequels. I mean, I think somebody on the defense might have argued this. I'm not sure, but if J.J. Abrams had directed all three movies, we would have ended up with a much better product. You still would have had people who didn't like it. I'm sure it probably wouldn't be that good, but it would definitely be a lot better than what we got.
Yeah. It would have been more cohesive. Rian Johnson set out to make his own film. The problem with Rian Johnson's film is it wasn't the first film. He already had things he had to deal with that had been set up that he just decided to ignore, which is baffling to me, completely baffling.
Let me say a couple things.
If they told him, hey, this is what we want to do here, you know, from the beginning, here's a laid out plan. This is point A to point C. I mean, the plan was no plan. J.J. Abrams and then Rian Johnson and then Colin Trevorrow. And like that was never going to work.
Oh, most certainly.
I remember watching From Star Wars to Jedi, The Making of a Saga. I think it was on PBS, hosted by Mark Hamill back in 1983-84. The sequence where Luke and Darth are battling on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, Death Star 2. Luke is hiding under the stairs, and Darth Vader is hunting him with his lightsaber out. And in the script, it said, Darth Vader says something to upset Luke. They didn't even know what he was going to say till they got on set and said, he could probably bring up the sister. He'd say, I'll turn your sister to the dark side. So there are moments where being off the cuff works, but you got to be really talented to do it.
Like Irvin Kershner.
Stellar director.
Well, let me say something about the because we keep hearing mention. Well, original Star Wars, it was political. I disagree with that in part because there's a difference in being inspired or modeled after current day events, and then there is infusing a project with a divisive and voracious, hateful, propaganda-filled agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say. I mean, it's not the kind of message they're spreading with this. It's not sustainable. I mean, forget pissing us off. It's going to eat itself alive, and I cannot imagine why a company would willingly set money on fire spreading the message like this if they did not have some kind of ulterior motive at the end of it.
The only motive I can think of is that when I was growing up, Star Wars was mainly, with some exceptions, for boys. We had T-shirts and lunch boxes. I had every Halloween I dressed as either Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader. And if I asked a girl out on a date and I mentioned Star Wars, it was like kryptonite to her. She didn't want anything to do with me. You're an effing nerd.
Right.
I went to Disneyland because I'm local here in Orange County. The Star Tour store always had a nice assortment of Star Wars, you know, a laser gun, some stickers, this kind of thing. As soon as Disney bought Star Wars, they turned the front store into a giant Star Wars store, and the big display was purses, high heel shoes, per universe dresses. It was a calculated effort to sell Star Wars as something that women could enjoy and not feel bad wearing this stuff in public, which, hey, I'm all for, but not at the exclusion of the men who already liked it.
Well, I mean, if you want to bring here's the thing, okay, if you want to bring women in, okay, emphasize the stuff that actually empowers women. Leia Organa Sola always refers to her dad as Bail Organa, who was a powerful figure on his own, best friend to Obi-Wan Kenobi, friend to the Jedi as a whole, Admiral Dalla, director Iceheart Izzard. I mean, the women that just romped all over the galaxy, built stuff, destroyed stuff. Mon Mothma, thank you. I don't know how I forgot about Mon Mothma. So a lot of people credit Leia with this, but Mon Mothma is the one that built, sustained the rebellion, and then built the New Republic. Leia was a figurehead until, for all intents and purposes, until the rebellion was won and Mon Mothma stepped down as president of the New Republic.
Well,
and
this idea that there's never been female representation in Star Wars is laughable.
Right.
Look at what
It is.
Lucas did in the first film. Princess Leia is captured at the beginning. We get the message to Luke. He thinks she's gorgeous, so he's going to drop his whole life to go rescue her. And the minute he rescues her, what does she do? She takes the gun and says, "Get this walking carpet out of my way." She becomes much more than you thought she was. That's how you write a powerful female character.
Exactly.
Yeah, but if
And-
Disney didn't buy Star Wars, what other studio could produce it? I mean, Universal, Sony.
I guess it could have been Fox, and then they just would have gotten bought by Disney anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Universal could have done a good job. I originally thought J.J. Abrams could have done a good job. A lot of people ragged on him for the Star Trek movies, but I liked it well enough. He's
was a Star Wars movie. I mean, it was.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but he's at least competent. And that's really all you need to tell at least a decent story. And we haven't gotten any of that.
Yeah, he's good at making fast-paced roller coaster ride type of film with not a lot of substance.
Yeah. I mean, he's got too much of a love affair with lens flares, but other than that,
I think JJ could have done Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think he could have done Dial of Destiny if it were done earlier, but I don't think he could have done another Star Wars. That's what I think, because he's always imitating, but he never is creative. Doesn't seem to have his own style.
not perfecting. Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Doesn't finish him, hence the Lost aspect that was brought up earlier. I mean, he was only involved in the pilot and like the first few episodes. He's tied to that series, but he didn't do anything past like the initial setup of it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, one of the biggest things, is that George Lucas had a treatment for the entire trilogy, for the entire sequel trilogy. He at least had a treatment, a roadmap, something to go. And as soon as he sold his intellectual property on good faith, and they would at least take some bits and pieces. And instead, they sucked all the intellect out of it, kicked him to the curb, and decided to go further into the abyss with absolutely no direction.
Yeah.
And it shows, and it was just, sheer effing hubris. And there was no
Star Trek.
Is that Star Trek? I don't think that's Star Trek.
Well,
I think that's the impersonator.
It's some version of Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek in name only.
I'd like to just take a pause in the proceedings as we take a look at some videos. You may also go for a brief recess. We're going to play some of these videos, and I want you to continue. Then we will continue with deliberation along with some comments here. Wait, just some comments. We'll do these comments very quickly. Solomon Thornton says, "I am black and I don't like Reva." There you are. Crunchy Beaver for 5 says, "I think Judge Gore is about as sober as Slick Willie Clinton on an island of ill repute." Well, We'll see about that, sir.
Is that a compliment?
I'm not sure exactly
Thank
what
you for the $5.
Take it that way.
Not exactly sure what that means, but just
I'm doing this so that the films will have a longer life, and so that more fans and people can enjoy them into the future. It's a very big universe I've created, and there's a lot of stories that are sitting in there.
The main thing is to protect these characters, make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them.
A long time ago when Hyperdrive wasn't. Resume Hyperdrive. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Nailed it.
I love it.
Very, very, very interesting.
It was a quiet Wednesday, that May 25. Quiet, that is. Until Star Wars exploded onto the silver screen and changed the course of movie making forever. We all know that story. But fast forward 35 years, when a real empire consumed it, changed it, broke it, woke it. The magic is gone. The myth is gone.
911 operator, what's your emergency? Oh my god, they killed Star Wars!
The new
Star Wars fun meals for your kids. A hamburger, french fries, and Coca-Cola. Imagine how much fun your kids will have.
Chewbacca chewing gum.
Chewbacca. Wait, that's the armpit?
Food? Yes, crunchy food. C-3POs.
New Kellogg C-3POs. Twin rings phased together for a crunchy new force at breakfast.
Yeah, the force is
Those are so lame.
A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast.
Star Wars is a modern-day fairy tale, which I really like because it took me on an adventure. I really understood robot R2-D2's feelings when he was scared and when he was crying. I especially like the special effects, especially the moving monster chess figures. My favorite part was when the stars, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Chewbacca the Wookiee were stuck in the garbage compactor, and just as they were going to be squished, the wall stopped moving. I liked the film, but there were some parts that were hard to understand, such as how a simple boy from the country can fly a spaceship and shoot a gun and hit right on target. And that Princess Leia was sure bossy.
What I was
Oh my God, they killed Star Wars.
what I was trying to do is stay independent so I could make the movies I wanted to make. But
I
at the
don't
same
know
time,
if
I was sort of
he
fighting
cried,
the corporate
but
system,
he had like
which I
sad
didn't like.
beeps
And I'm not happy with the fact that corporations have taken over the
at
film industry.
times,
But now I
or
found myself
concern beeps.
being the head of a corporation. So there's a certain irony there, is that I have become the very thing that I was trying to avoid.
I think he did.
The problem is that
Some, like,
making film is an
when,
art. Selling film is a business.
Right.
The trouble is that they don't know how to sell films. As a result, they try to make you make films that people will go to without them having to get sold. Because the real
I don't remember if I guess Archie wasn't there in the
Okay, thank you
freezing chamber room.
for the brief break. Perhaps some of the video material there might lend some insight from the mind of George Lucas Very quickly here, comment.
He screamed like
the
a
Lost
man,
Tales
though.
threat level 1 has been a member for 6 months. It says,
Well, he did.
here's
He
to
screams,
6 months
yeah.
of support to a childhood hero. Well, thank you so much. That's amazing. I do appreciate it. We're going to continue our jury deliberations here and ask you all to express your final statement as we move towards our finale on July 26th. We're going to have many special guests. I don't want to reveal who they are right now, but you will be shocked at who the special guests are going to be. And not only will we be going through every single count in which members of the jury will vote, but in addition, there will be a sentencing. There will be a sentencing after, depending on which way the jury goes. Also, of course, you'll be able to vote on the next trial that we partake in. So with that in mind, any final remarks or final statements from the jury? The last things that you'd like to say for today regarding where you think this case might go?
I have one thing that I want to say, and it's be very short. They seem to have either neglected or forgot how much George Lucas talked about the hero's journey with Luke Skywalker, and trying to replicate and inject their own politics into the sequel trilogy with Rey. She didn't have a hero's journey. She had a hero's time warp. But what they didn't expect is that it would time warp straight to the event horizon.
Okay, thank you very much. Who else would like to step up?
I would like to say something. When it comes to, I guess, future productions with Star Wars, I don't think we're getting anything of quality anytime soon. Hard evidence right here. And that mischief for sure, definitely within the company. Watching interviews with Mark Hamill the past couple of days and the subtle jabs he takes at Rian Johnson during production, and the awkwardness that also came with the interviews as well. Evidence on their own merits, I guess you can say. And that this case is pretty much done. I think we all know where it's going to go. But
Okay, who else would like to make a final statement?
Yeah, I'd like to chime in.
Please.
I did try to read the comic books, Galaxy's Edge. There is such a comic book that they sell at Disneyland, and it was very difficult to read, and it was not engaging at all. And I've read comic books my whole life. I've tried to read the High Republic, the first book. I just kept falling asleep. And I did try to give Kenobi, which I thought was just a middle finger. I thought it was just a middle finger to anybody. It seemed so inconsistent in behavior and lore. And I don't even remember any of the music. And the music is one of the most memorable things from Star Wars. People, even those kids, they would hum the music from Star Wars. It's so memorable. And now today, I can't even hum you Rey's theme or Palpatine's theme. So I just want to say that I did give it a chance, and it's a no-go for me.
Okay. Anyone else before we?
I'll jump in.
Sure.
Gosh.
So, something that Hollywood seems to have forgotten is that creativity and freedom go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Creativity will thrive in freedom, and if you're looking for Star Wars that is creative and will scratch that itch, just get a Del Rey book. Read the Thrawn trilogy. Read the Bane trilogy. The duologies. They go into so much detail that you cannot find in a movie, even if it is done right. I've been doing Star Wars my whole life. It has been the one constant passion. And the moment Kylo Ren stepped off that ship in Force Awakens, I was done with Disney Star Wars. I called every mistake they made as soon as I saw him walk off that ship. You started with Darth Vader, tall, straight back, imposing, walked everywhere because, he always caught up to his quarry. And then you get Kylo Ren. Oh, my life sucks. I don't like my daddy. Oh, grandfather that's dead. Hear my woes. And it was dry. And to me, Disney Star Wars was dead in that moment. And they have done little to nothing to disabuse me of that notion. So instead of getting angry, instead of screaming and yelling about it, I just kept picking up the books. And I'm happy. I'm good. I've got Star Wars. Disney can suck it.
Mr. Truth.
Yeah, so my relationship with Disney Star Wars is I liked Force Awakens initially. Then I saw The Last Jedi, and I was like, well, I guess we're done here. And The Mandalorian brought me back. I liked the first season of Mandalorian. I even liked season 2, to be honest. To me, what really put the final nail in the coffin was Kenobi. I think Kenobi is worse than the sequel. It's the worst Star Wars I've ever seen. I absolutely despise that show. And at this point, I'm just done with Disney Star Wars. Like, there's no benefit of the doubt left for me to give them. I don't know how many things I'm supposed to watch and how many things I'm supposed to give them chances on. How many times I got to be disappointed before you just give up. There's other things to do. There's other past Star Wars things plenty of Star Wars books I haven't read. There's other franchises out there. There's other things to experience. So as far as Star Wars being dead, I don't necessarily know if I would say Star Wars is dead, because there are people who like it. But Star Wars is dead to me personally, as far as new content goes. So yeah, I think that's really the crux of the argument here is what percentage of the fan base has to consider a franchise dead before it's dead. That's what I'm gonna leave it with.
Excellent point, Mr. Truth. Mr. Tucker, final statement here, and then we're going to look at drawings and sketches from today's proceedings from Mr. Blackwood. But Mr. Tucker, please, it's Tucker time. I actually have a pin that says Tucker time. And thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Like I said, I grew up idolizing Star Wars. I named my oldest child, my firstborn, Luke Skywalker Tucker. So I put my money where my mouth is. I love Star Wars. Star Wars was the hot chick in high school that you dreamed about. And now she's big and bloated, fat, and she's dead. Star Wars is dead. They've kicked it. They've burned it. They've destroyed it. The only thing left to do with Star Wars now is to drag it to the moon of Endor and set it on fire and hope that nobody finds any of the ashes. What's been done is despicable. I can't believe what they've thrown up on the screen, from announcing Palpatine's return in a video game, not in the movie, to Rey somehow taking up the magical mantle of Skywalker at the end of the movie. I'm done. I could care less about Star Wars. I'll retreat into the nostalgia of yesterday, and that's where I'll find my happiness, because it sure as hell ain't in it now until Kathleen Kennedy is out, until Disney decides we can't miss Star Wars until it goes away, and it's time for it to go away for a while. George knew it, and he was right.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker, and thank you to all of the jurors today for your attendance.
Yes, Your Honor, I just have to say that I love a vigorous debate, and once again, it is almost impossible to read the room and know exactly how this court trial what the verdict will be. and I believe this is the heart of debate. To be able to weigh both sides, and I'm on pins and needles. I am truly excited to find out which guilty or not guilty. I have no idea, absolutely no idea.
We're totally unbiased here.
So
thank you, Mr. Ing, for that. Mr. Blackwood, let's take a look at some of what you've made during the proceedings today. Well, there you go. Okay. Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Oh,
Mr. Blackwood bringing the fire again.
Very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Mr. Blackwood will be doing a Kickstarter with where he'll be selling a copy of a book with all the sketches that he's made during the entire trial.
I'd buy that.
It's now several hundred sketches in total that have been done during everything that we've done here. So this is it's pretty spectacular. Thank you, Mr. Blackwood. I also want to remind people that Mr. Ing and I will be Mr. Ing and I will actually be in San Diego during San Diego Comic-Con. We have a panel on Thursday, July 20th at 4 p.m. at the Marriott. It's our Indie Filmmaker Survival Guide. In addition, if you follow me on social media, I will I'm going to be doing a signing of copies of Attack of the Doc on Blu-ray, which I now actually physically have copies, and I'll have them for sale at San Diego Comic-Con. And in addition, Alan, there's another panel on Saturday that you and I will be at.
Yes, it'll be Everyone's a Critic. It's run by our good friend Bill Waters. That's Saturday at 5:30.
Saturday at 5:30, Everyone's a Critic. Excellent. Thank you. So I want to thank everybody today for your hard work, for considering both sides of this. We're not biased at all.
I mean, I can play devil's advocate.
Not at all.
It says something if I'm
you can go either way. That's
I mean, at the end, it's all intellectual.
Mr. Truth, you had something you wanted to say. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying we're in bad shape if I'm the positive one.
There you go. Well, it's been great times. Well, thank you. Mikov sends me chat 25 PLN. I don't know what that is. As a member says, as one of the great characters from Star Wars game Knights of the Old Republic 2, Kreia said, apathy is death. We see a lot of apathy towards Star Wars franchise is dying.
PLN will do. It's a Polish Zolty, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Oh wow. Well, I am part Polish, so I do appreciate that. Well, thank you very much for that. We will end it there. We will be at San Diego Comic-Con this week. Perhaps I'll see Mr. Tucker there. Jeff Tucker, will you be at San Diego Comic-Con?
I'll be there on Thursday. I'll look for you.
Look for me on Thursday. I want to thank members of the jury. You're all members of the Film Threat YouTube channel. We appreciate your support. Alan and I and everyone from Film Threat enjoy entertaining you week to week. And we love, yes, somebody's got drinks. Angry Yeti is knows what's up.
I gotta go get another one.
Oh yeah, but I want to thank you all. We'll have a good time on July 26th together with a lot of special guests. It's going to be a spectacular show. It's our finale, the season finale of Critics Court Star Wars on Trial. I want to thank all the members, also the members who are in the chat watching who did not participate on camera. Just thank you all. I'm doing, as the producer of the show, Glenn Brown, says, this is the Irish goodbye, meaning I take too long to say goodbye. So we're going to leave it at that. And we're just going to leave it at that and say, everyone, may the force be with you. May the force be with you.
Well, if it's smaller, be sure to set aside 5 hours.
Yeah.
We'll see you in San Diego, and we'll see you July 26th in court.
Hail.
Carry on.
All right. So now it's the finale trailer.
Yeah, everybody, come on.
The day has come.
Everything that Disney has done since they got Star Wars is a fuck you, and a hard fuck you.
This franchise is dead.
It sucked.
It's irrelevant.
It is completely irrelevant because Star Wars is on trial. Answer me that.
So you lose, sir. Good day to you.
Okay,
But I just
Mike,
wanted to know
whoa.
what you
I'm
started
asking you a
off with.
question. You answer my question now. Did you think that was acceptable?
Not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth.
Your dog is ugly.
Mr. Ing, is that what you said? I've got a dog, man. Star Wars is dying, Judge Cora.
We laughed in their face like Dave Filoni.
The Force is fucking female in Disney Star Wars.
But guilty of the biggest crime of all, being completely and utterly shit.
McClunky.
Wait, what? All right, so was that the very, very end? I think it is. The trailer. Yep. All right, this is the final verdict. We'll watch some of it here. I might actually finish this in one more stream. I'm not sure. Kind of looks like it will.
Yeah, everybody, come on.
Everything that Disney has done since they got Star Wars is a fuck you, and a hard fuck you.
This franchise is dead.
It sucked.
It's irrelevant.
It is completely irrelevant because Star Wars is on trial. Answer me that.
So you lose, sir. Good day to you.
All rise.
Oh, all rise.
You may be seated.
Oh, he's got his
Continuing in the matter
Hi.
of the fans versus Disney Lucasfilm. Today is Judgment Day. Today, the verdict will be in case number 1138. You, the jury, you watching, you will have a time to vote. This is your time now. Some have called this the trial of the millennium. It's much more serious. And those calling this fake trial, making fun of it, today, they will see how serious we are. Okay. Mr. Ing, if you would bring up the counts, please. There are 9 total counts. And here's how this is going to work. It's going to be very simple. Because of the seriousness of these charges, you, the viewers, the jury, will be able to vote on each count. We will go through all 9 counts, showing highlights of those debates. We may have some special guests join us who have been in my courtroom in the past. They'll be joining us to render their final thoughts. At the very end, we will go through the counts. And I am going to let you know right now, 95% guilty gets a guilty verdict. Anything less than 95% is not guilty on that count. This is not a clean sweep, as many in the media have been speculating. This is not a kangaroo court. This must be 95% voting guilty in order for a guilty verdict to stick. It's time to vote. It is now time. Critics Court is in session. Continuing in this matter and joining us today is a Mr. Todd Blackwood. Mr. Blackwood is our courtroom sketch artist. He will be doing sketches and illustrations for the proceedings today. Thank you, Mr. Blackwood. You can go to blackwoodpdx.com or follow Mr. Blackwood on Instagram. Thank you for your attendance today. Mr. Ng, do I see a smirk on your face?
No, Your Honor, but I do again have to ask that you instruct the jury to smash that like button, subscribe to the YouTube Film Threat YouTube channel, and hit that notification. It's very important.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ng, for that reminder. Next time, how about without the smirk? Thank you very much. And we will begin. As more people have joined us, here's how this is going to work. We're going to show you highlights of each count, each charge against Lucasfilm Disney for the murder of the Star Wars franchise. After we view each count, other people who have been in my courtroom will have an opportunity to express any final thoughts. As the jury goes in to vote, you will be able to vote on that charge. We're going to go count by count, spending approximately 5 minutes or so on each count, depending on how long the debate goes. At the very end, we will then read the verdicts. Now, to be clear, this jury will not be a hung jury. It must be 95% or more in order to count as a guilty on that charge. Does the jury understand the instructions? Someone in the chat, please, people in the chat, just let me know that you understand. It's 95% and above counts as guilty. Anything below is not guilty on that count. Mr. Breno Bellick says, execute order KK. We shall see. As we have nearly 1,000 people here, it's time to begin. It is now time to begin. Let us take a look at the debate regarding count number 1.
Previously on Critics Court.
Yeah, everybody, come on. I think I just dented my desk. All right.
George Lucas is not a defendant
No, George Lucas is the creator of Star Wars, and we wouldn't be here without him.
That's nice, but the fans are actually the
That's nice. We wouldn't be fans of Star Wars if it wasn't for George Lucas.
But he's no longer in control.
I know, because it was fraudulent misrepresentation and he got swindled out of his company and his legacy.
We mentioned before how Mark Hamill basically does not appear in The Force Awakens, which is as fraudulent as possible for two reasons. One, there was that classic picture, that black and white picture of the entire crew, old and new, reading the script. Why was he even there? I mean, he must have been fetching coffee. But also, I believe that Mark Hamill himself did the voiceover for one of the teaser trailers for The Force Awakens. Now, he is a very talented voice actor, but certainly you could get any voice actor to read that material. But using him and connecting with the fans was, again, another misrepresentation of, oh, yeah, by the way, Mark Hamill, the actor you've been loving for 40 years, he will be in the story. No, he won't be.
Mark Hamill was in the very last shot, but he was in the movie. Technically, he was there.
Yes, technically. There were extras who had more room in the space and
From a
screen
certain
time.
point of view, Mark Hamill was in the movie.
I think what you're describing is what would be considered the bait and switch. Let's just take Mark Hamill for a second. You know, if Mark Hamill is doing press, he is doing teaser trailers for it. There's an expectation that he would be in the movie, and yet he is in the. Yes, he is technically in the movie, but not in a way that is satisfying to the expectations of fans going into the film prior, not knowing anything about the movie.
Rise of Skywalker, love it or hate it, it still made over $1 billion. If we're going by the same argument that because of the Last Jedi was killing the fan base, and that they immediately were losing money because of Solo, then why didn't The Rise of Skywalker make less than $1 billion?
Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Lando.
I'm falling asleep during this debate.
How do you know when it's time to end a relationship or when to really fight for it to see if there's something there?
I don't think there's a right.
As I've instructed the members of the jury, the viewers, voting is now open on count 1. Fraudulent misrepresentation. How do you feel on this? Guilty or not guilty? Mr. Ng, what do you have to say on this topic? You were very animated in the video that we just saw.
Yes. I mean, let's be clear. There was an expectation. There were announcements. There were photos. During press, we were promised that Han, Luke, and Leia would appear in this movie. And I think you could go as far as to say that they would appear sometime together. But not only did you kill one of the characters, but you saved Luke Skywalker for the last seconds of the movie. That is the classic bait and switch. And so fraudulent misrepresentation. We were led to believe something and it did not come true.
There are nearly 1,000 jurors now in attendance. I think that's a good sample group. As I previously stated, the vote must be 95% in order to secure a guilty verdict. It's all up to you, members of the jury. Mr. Blackwood, I know you've
I wonder how
created
the final result will be.
more than 200 videos, or excuse me, sketches and illustrations. If you care to share with us as people vote some of your best works, I will feature you more full screen here, sir, so we can see. Thank you very much. Well, there you go. My understanding is that Mr. Blackwood will be doing a Critics Court Sketchbook Volume 1 and doing a Kickstarter. I will have details of that to members of the jury if you'd like to purchase said book. I would like a little memento of our several months here.
That's the design
Several
of
months.
Kylo
Thank
Ren's
you,
helmet.
Mr. Blackwood.
Clever.
We're all indebted to you for your
And that's
hard work.
Kathleen Kennedy, and I think that's Ryan Johnson.
Mr. Ng,
with her.
any other final thoughts before we move to the next count? Has it been a full? We're going to give at least 5 minutes. 5 minutes for voting for each count, and then we will read the results at the very end of the show. Another reminder: after this session ends, many have suggested that there are other trials that should be brought to Critics Court. Some have suggested Marvel. Some have suggested DC. Some have suggested the Snyderverse. Jurassic
Snyderverse.
Park.
Yeah, I guess you could do Snyder.
I don't know who it was who said Jurassic Park, but somebody did say Jurassic Park. Many have been suggested at the end of this session, once we have a verdict, do not leave. You are going to choose the franchise that comes to Critics Court next from among 8 possible choices. We're going to go through 8 choices. Mr. Ing, any comments before we move on?
No, I believe all the evidence has been weighed, and I believe our jury is going to make the right decision.
Okay. Let's take a look at highlights as we vote. We're going to end the voting for count 1 right now. Voting for count 1 ends. And voting for count 2 will be up momentarily. Is that right? Poll ending in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then the next poll will go up as well. It is very important that you vote, because 95% gets you a guilty verdict. These are serious charges. This is the charge of murder of a beloved franchise. A beloved franchise that has been around for decades, since the 1970s. Alan, what was that like?
1970s. I'm just saying, this is not the Galactic Senate. This is America, and you need to vote.
And this is also, in my courtroom, no one can be bought. This is all about you. All right, let's take a look. The poll is ended for count 1. The poll for count 2 has begun. Let's take a look at highlights from the debate for count 2.
So when a client comes to us with an ask to launch an influencer marketing campaign, the process is pretty streamlined. So
Previously on Critics Court.
Force Pool wasn't a part of canon, and George made it up because it was cool for The Empire Strikes Back, which is great. It's fabulous.
I don't think he made it up at all. I think we hadn't seen any, hardly any of the Jedi's powers or any of the Force powers at all until we get to really Empire Strikes Back.
Not a whole lot had been established about the Force. I don't know what kind of canon was established in A New Hope.
I imagine it was intentionally vague in order to probe people's imaginations. He wanted to keep it vague.
Well, I mean, it takes place in a few days. I mean, that's like asking a chemist everything he knows about chemistry and demonstrating it in a few days, a few minutes of time. Yeah, I mean, how long does it take a samurai to learn how to wield a sword? No one ever took us through the years it would take to become a Jedi. So the idea that we're supposed to have seen every moment or everything that a Jedi could do in the space of a movie is absurd.
The Star Wars canon was always a work in progress from day one. George didn't even know that there was going to be 6 movies.
I think a huge part of the fact that we have so many contradictions is the fact that Darth Vader says in the first movie the ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. Right. It is definitively superpowers that you can willfully tap into at any time as long as you know how to be spiritual, mystical man.
But my point is, who is the sole guardian of canon from episodes 1 through 6? I'm going to say that's George Lucas. And I think the main point here is that this is George Lucas's story. And I think our point here is that Disney had now come in and dismantled everything George had built to that point.
If you go back to the extended universe, there's so much material now that they're picking and choosing, cherry picking what they think is the best stuff. There was so much stuff in those comics that were thought more about than J.J. Abrams ever thought about these things, because the people that write tie-in fiction now spend way more time thinking about the universe and the characters than the people writing movies.
Don't forget, we were pissed off at George for a long time, and we got really excited when Disney took it over, and we got pissed off again.
Okay. Voting has begun for count 2. While we wait for others to join, we have a significant number of comments worth reading today.
What?
And I want to thank our new members, Flavius Alcanthar,
He makes
Doug,
really good points.
Petcher Block, thank you very much. B. Christopher, Coffee, Caffeinated Me. I want to thank all of our new members who have joined. I'll go through some of these chat comments and questions. Mexican Iron Man Threat Level 2 has been a member for 11 months. It says, welcome to the members of the jury. Please keep order in the court by liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Thank you, Mr. Iron Man. Jake King for 2. Everyone involved did a fantastic job. Thank you. You know what? I even think Mr. Ing did a very good job. And I don't say that, and I'm under oath right now. So very good job, Mr. Ing.
And Your Honor, you did a fantastic job as well.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ing. Thank you. Going through these comments as you are voting, you, me, and the movies for 10. I think there is only one way to settle this case. Trial by combat. We shall have a duel of the fates. Choose your champion and grab your lightsabers. So there you are. Thank you very much. $10. That will go in the till here in Critics Court. Jorge Barracuda for 5. Eating my shrimp and rice and beans while watching. Guilty. Okay sign. American flag. And Mexican Iron Man for 10. Your Honor, upon guilty verdicts, Mexican Iron Bailiff stands at the ready to take Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Lucasfilm, and the co-conspirators into protective custody and place in solitary confinement for life. Well, there you
Mexican
are.
Iron Man, your day has come.
Yes. And
provided they're guilty.
Benjamin for 10. At the end of the day, it's a litmus test. How often do you personally actually return to view these sequels? The truth is that answer. Thank you, Benjamin. Your Muslim uncle for 199. Innocent. Now bring out the Sharktacon. Thank you. Contrarian 420 for 5. Superb series film threat. Justice for Admiral Akbar.
Cool.
Zahn trilogy is canon.
All right.
Jorge
We're going to have to pause at this
2
moment.
As guilty as Hunter.
This is actually a pretty decent spot to stop. So I want to thank you all for joining me. We're coming up on 2 hours. We have how much time remaining on this? About an hour and 58 minutes. So pretty darn cool. So it looks like we'll finish this in one more stream. So that'll be episode 9. Oh, that matches up with the Star Wars saga, episodes 1 through 9. That's funny. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your continued support, and y'all have a good day. See you on the next stream or video. I'm probably going to do a stream next, which will be Terraria. All right. Take it easy. Bye.
Thundercats!